Welcome to the Hat Chat Podcast, episode 35, with your three guys. Chris Trott.
Your three guys. I'm one of them, Ross Hornby.
And the third sexy dude coming in your ear is Al Smithy. Alex Smith, that's me.
There he is.
Oh, I can hear him. He's coming in my ear.
This is the 3rd of July, as he jizzes into your ear with his mouth.
Day 112, guys. Day 112. I've written that down. Noted that again. I feel
Really?
like
The
that's
lockdown
point
count.
each time.
Are you
Since we started lockdown.
like using a protractor to scrape it into your table?
It's on the
Scrolling
walls.
into the walls.
It's scrawled into the walls.
In your own poo?
Another day.
You're using nature's
no,
crayons?
but I'm not using nature's crayons yet. But eventually it might get to that stage. Maybe day 200. Maybe might get to
You know
that
why?
stage.
All the cave
That's a great
paintings
finger,
about
though, by the way.
validate you.
Yeah, I like the finger.
Yeah. It's a good finger. It was very
Great finger,
Very,
really chill.
synthwave.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah, it's like synth waves.
Thanks to
and chill. I've
Bob,
been listening to chill wave.
aka Leak Proof. And also, you may hear in the background some drilling and some wood carving and jigsawing. Just
Sculptors
I thought it'd be a good opportunity to start adding some ambient noise into our podcasts, just to spice
That's
things
good.
up.
That's good.
So this one.
Well, I do actually have I found a wooden. There was a sculpture story
Right.
about a giant wooden penis that, if anything, kind of suits this, because we could then kind of quickly turn it on to the fact that you're getting that done in your
Perfect.
backyard right now.
Yes.
So that maybe we can unravel that later. I don't know, but
Sure.
yeah.
Let's get to the bottom of that. Sounds good. So, what day 112? COVID.
Yeah. God.
It's nice, isn't it? Everyone's
I
forgotten
mean,
about
the
it,
thing
I
is,
think.
everything. I think this last week, I think a lot more people have been out and about and doing more things, and kind of just it's been loosey goosey to the point where people have forgotten that there's a virus out there. And
Yeah.
whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, probably a bad thing.
Well, how
Shit's
can it
getting
be
back to
good?
normal. Well, the thing is, okay, so they said, okay, the 4th of July, and they chose the 4th of July probably because of the Independence Day connotations, etc. As the day that everything's opening up again. You can get a haircut. You can go to the fucking pub. Brilliant. Obviously under social distancing, which everyone's definitely doing. But within this first week, which isn't even leading up to the actual unlock moment,
Is that a
Leicester has
key
been
term?
locked down again.
Yeah.
So
that's
like
pretty bad.
they've already started locking places down before they've actually unlocked anything,
Yeah.
which instantly
Well, it's
strikes
a-
you as, well, maybe it's too soon then. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's probably a signifier of their strategy, to be honest with you. I think that's what they're probably...
Just like a
I mean,
hint.
this is me presuming that there's some form of intelligent mind somewhere in government, but like the whole full lockdown thing probably wouldn't be possible to do again, like as effectively, because like it's like I think they're probably thinking they're going to do like a micro lockdown. Each time there's a hotspot, you lock down that hotspot. You use the resources and technology to address that hotspot, I presume.
Yeah.
I have no idea whether that's a good thing or not. I'm not an expert. I'd love to be pointed towards one, but at the moment, who knows?
I believe
Who
the
knows?
Prime Minister used the words whack-a-mole as their kind of technique for smashing down and locking down areas.
Exactly,
So if Leicester has a spike, damn, Leicester's now going to be locked in. Or Manchester, sure, them too. So until I guess that spreads further, it will be local lockdowns.
I wouldn't call that
So
the
we'll
best
see.
analogy in the world, whack-a-mole, because that's
That's what
basically
he said.
bringing a big
It is
hammer down
reactionary.
on the citizens.
Yeah,
got
pretty much.
Leicester.
Yeah. But I think
You stand
it
up
instantly paints that picture in your mind, though, doesn't it? So you instantly go, okay, so that one's popping up here, one's popping up there. The moment you knock that one down, another one's popped up. So yeah, I mean, if
And
they
you
can
can't
keep
possibly get them
tabs
all.
on things, then sure.
Yeah.
Maybe
No.
if it gets too bad, they'll update it to Nuka-Mole or Nuka-Town. Like
Yeah.
orbital
Get 'em all.
satellite.
Jeez, yeah.
Just zoof, straight in. Giant laser from an orbital satellite just erases a small hamlet in Yorkshire off of the planet's surface. Just superheated to the surface of the sun, instantaneous, and you're left
Right.
with this lovely, smooth obsidian surface that you could make souvenirs with, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all from the comfort of space.
Wow.
There's someone up
That's
there
like
aiming it. Like a
the plot of Die Another Day, isn't it?
Up there.
Yeah, I think you're getting your
Is that
ideas
not the
from
plot of Die Another
James
Day?
Bond movies.
Yeah, it
Where he
is,
started
yeah.
cutting up the
Yeah,
ice
you're
caps from
yeah,
space.
Quantum of Solace, I believe, right?
I
I
call
can't
it
remember.
Lost
I-
for
I-
short.
to be-
Die
Quantum
Another
of Solace
Day,
was
you're
the
right,
worst
Die
one.
Another Day.
It was Die
It
Another
was
Day,
very
yeah.
boring. I couldn't even remember something about water
Yeah.
in a desert or something like that in Quantum of Solace.
What do you mean boring? Jesus Christ. Madonna was in that film. She was fencing.
Oh God, I cannot stand Madonna, man. Like, oh,
I don't know. I mean, she
Jesus.
was very much plugged into that film just because she was singing the title song. So, which was of course
Which
Die
one's the
Another
one where
Day.
they went to
Um,
Scotland at the end? That's Skyfall, right?
Skyfall. Yeah.
Yeah. because they
I
had to
fell
make the
asleep
And
title
then
at
work.
Quantum of
that
Solace is the dog shit one.
Did you?
Oh, you fell asleep at Skyfall.
Yeah.
There were some helicopters like making a lot of fucking noise at the end of that film.
That's
slept
when I
through.
woke up again.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but sometimes loud noises send me to sleep. Like loud, like white noise. Like, will
if it's
like,
consistent, yeah.
If
Knock
it's like
me
an
out.
action, constant action, you mean? Yeah.
oh, not like
a
not
John
like
Wick film.
a tap dripping or something like that. Not that. Like no, like you know, like very loud, thrashy
Yeah,
music.
a
will sometimes
continual
make me
noise.
fall asleep.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bit like
What about this
gunfire.
kind of sound? Would that send you to sleep?
Could you?
I didn't hear it. Oh, that was it. Was
I
it?
can hear
I
it.
keep thinking he's outside.
You can hear a mild. It's just downstairs. I can hear it. I mean, I could probably sleep through that a little bit. I reckon.
You get
I
tired
sleep through a
enough.
lot of things.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Like what?
Can you list them?
I just put
An
the sound of my own
orbital
voice on.
strike? Do you think you could sleep through that? Woke up and Bedminster was just gone the next day. Just a glassy surface remains. Coronavirus on
Oh.
there. It's like coronavirus. Yeah, they had an
Corona.
outbreak in a local Lidl, so they just decided to nuke the fucker from orbit. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
easier that way.
They know best. They
Strong
know
and
best.
stable.
Do you think because Boris Johnson has got immunity himself now, that he's got this reckless abandon for making sure everyone else gets the same thing? Or
Mm.
he
It's
just
interesting
doesn't care as
because-
much?
Potentially, I think if you have had it, maybe there is this kind of almost
Have a immune.
arrogance that I'm probably not going to get it again. There's a high chance that I'll be fine. But yeah, it's the other cases. In fact, I can probably bring up one of the news stories I found just to bring up the other risks. Right. So here's the story I found earlier on, which headline
fear-mongering,
is
are we? Is that what we're
Coronavirus patient suffers hours-long erection due to blood clots in his
Ah.
penis.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a benefit.
So doctors
Oh, I-
claim 62-year-old's priapism, which is what that is
So
called,
appropriate.
was triggered by COVID-19. So these are like these tiny little pockets of stories you hear every now and then, obviously, which probably definitely only affect a very tiny amount of people. However, they are very interesting because, Jesus Christ, an hours-long erection is interesting in any scenario, surely. But he
We long
rapidly
for the day.
deteriorated with symptoms of COVID-19. They were 62, so I'm not sure if they were celebrating the fact that they had an erection for such a long time. They're probably too busy trying to breathe on a ventilator, I imagine.
Yeah, I think
so it probably
COVID was
wasn't
probably the
as
priority.
as sexy or fun as we like to think. But God, they had to use needles to remove blood clots on his penis.
One of us getting
that's
old-fashioned
awful.
leech in there. Leech them.
Yeah,
Leeches, yeah.
coat them
Yeah.
with leeches.
Certainly would. I think that is a method.
One way to get a
sometimes
suck job,
for the-
isn't it?
for priapisms.
You know what I mean?
Certainly is.
Oh my god.
Who gave you a suck job? Well, actually, just a kind of a collection of small creatures with teeth and sucking abilities. I had blood clots in my penis. Thank you.
It was really harrowing. Thank you.
But yeah, like there's these tiny little stories like this one where other people getting like kind of side effects and stuff, or they don't quite fully know the gravity of the after effects, which is the only thing that kind of makes me nervous about getting it. Or I mean, I may have had it already.
Yeah,
Fuck,
there's
I
a
have
lot
no
of
idea.
uncertainty.
Like we said before, when everyone got ill around Christmas, people have been tracking it back to December,
Yeah,
to even August, even as far as August. So like
we did all
could
get
have been
very
here
ill
in
from
when
August.
we all
Yeah.
had that flu, who fucking knows if that was part of it? I haven't
That was
actually
all
been
very
tested.
different
Well, do they?
symptoms, wasn't it?
I certainly don't think they do anymore.
I don't know.
Anti-who
Are they doing
sentiment.
tests?
We need antibody tests
Who
to
knows?
find out,
No, they
right?
don't. The bastards. As in the World Health Organization. Yeah.
Maybe we started it. Is there a chance that we started
Maybe
it?
we did.
What, the Wildlife
Maybe.
World Wildlife Foundation or what?
No, the
Sorry,
coronavirus.
another acronym joke.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah. Maybe we started it. I don't know. I mean, none of us are epidemiologists as well. There's a few holes in our knowledge here to comment on these things.
I was ill at the time, so it's probably that. That's our...
Yogg plague definitely wasn't the Rona. Yeah, we had much more flu-like symptoms.
It's way more flu-y than
I think it was just a really fucking killer flu.
Yeah.
Well, God, I don't know. I mean, we can't trace it back. We're not doctors, are we? Are we?
No.
There was a doctor.
I feel like we are
I don't think
now.
he knows
I
anything.
feel like when you've done enough podcasts, you technically become an expert in what you've talked about.
Yeah.
Right.
That's self-fulfilling knowledge right there.
And the higher
And
quality of the
I want to
microphone.
talk to you guys about today. Is my microphone dipped again? That's it.
No, I'm just saying.
No, it's just in terms of if you have the look and feel of someone who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Bam. You are the expert, and that's all it takes.
Exactly.
And to be fair, with all the people, not using masks because they think it's a political reason, etc. That kind of stuff is about. People just follow things blindly or kind of assume it's political.
Personally, I'm not sure. I haven't seen so much politicizing of it in this country, but I was surprised today reading some stuff on Twitter about the US, like saying, there's quite a few people who see it as a political issue, and you're like, fuck, this is stupid.
But out and about though, have you been wearing your masks, or have you not bothered?
I do when I go in supermarkets.
I mean, I need to kind of wear them inside places. Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense. It's basically they said the main risk is inside confined spaces, not out and about necessarily.
It drastically reduces outside because of the wind basically dispersing and particles are really spread.
But
out.
In stores, if there's 50 people in there, I would say 2 or 3 have masks on, from my experience. So, I don't think people are taking it that seriously. Even though I know that Scotland just announced that they are making it mandatory, right? So you have to wear a mask. Whereas obviously in America, they're then saying, in America they're saying, well, there's loads of people who are, desperately not wanting to wear a mask because of their freedoms, etc. When ultimately, I don't know. Has somebody just said it's just for yours and other people's safety? I don't know. Or do they just not care? I have no idea. But it just seems so absurd to even read about. That there are people out there who think this.
The most absurdist and dramatic takes rise to the surface, and that's what gets most voted on Reddit or wherever. And you get the Florida cases, when they're doing their little speeches.
There was the discussion, wasn't it? Yeah, the town hall discussion thing, which people were comparing to Parks and Rec, where they were just completely ranting and raving, saying it's my freedom to not wear a piece of cloth in front of my face to protect myself. It's okay.
That's such a good point. It's so Parks and Rec. It's terrifying how comedic it was of just listing these things that they've just been hearing off these stupid podcasts or TV shows that are just shoving this crap
like
down
ours.
Like ours.
The irony of saying that on a podcast.
Scary thing is people believe it.
Yeah,
I think that I like. There's some sort of fun metaphor in there about what kind of how people put political signs in their front gardens. Like I'm voting conservative, I'm voting liberal, or whatever like that, right? I like to think that politicizing the face mask issue is a bit like, depending on which flag you put on the front of your door, is it whether the story of Passover and the lamb's blood on the door thing, where it's it's going to be like that.
First child Corona
comes through the neighborhood, and Corona comes through the neighborhood, and it sees the right political flag outside and decides not to go into that house, and it's just there's got to be something there.
Oh, they're a Republican. I'll avoid that one.
Yeah. Oh, the ghost of Corona's past will not haunt you. Ooh. It's just it's
interesting. People predict these things, and they predicted that this. I mean, have you seen Contagion? Right.
No.
So in Contagion, Jude Law's character plays basically what's that maniac dude who kind of doesn't believe that Sandy Hook happened? What's his name? He's like a conspiracy theorist dude.
Idea. How could he not?
I can't remember his name now. And it's probably a good thing I don't need to say his name, but basically,
Jones?
like, he's a very Alex Jones. He's a very controversial figure, and like Jude Law is basically this guy, and he's like saying that the CDC is lying about all this other shit, but then he's going around in his fucking he's got his fucking mask on, all his PPE, etc. But then he's like kind of selling his own synthetic version of a cure or whatever, which doesn't actually work. And films like that predict that there are people out there who will be strongly against something that is biological and something you can't really just politicize or stop in that sense.
Just the government trying to control us.
They saw it coming. These people were predicted that they would be so kind of against these things. It's just a shame. And obviously, like you say, we're seeing it all because it is so outrageous and it is so kooky, and it's like, why is wearing a mask such a big issue for people? I don't know. I think people just kind of don't like being told what to do. Especially
it's just seeing all these videos going around
about control.
People saying like, I've got a medical slip to not wear a mask. I have breathing issues. Don't make me wear a mask. I want to go into this handbag shop. Don't.
Yeah. Or the fear of like dying of like asphyxiation by wearing a mask, which again just instantly makes you realize that they obviously aren't that intelligent to realize that it's a
hospital staff will be dropping dead left, right, and centre if that's the case.
I know. Well, that's it. Yeah, surgeons are using them all day.
A bit of a fake news check here.
Yeah.
To be fair, the only videos and the only information on Twitter I've seen about the whole masks reducing oxygen flow things are people proving that it doesn't. I haven't seen any information on my Twitter feed saying, "Hey guys, watch out when you're wearing your mask. You're not going to be able to be as oxygenated and make me faint." And it's like, I've not seen any of that. All I've seen are people going, TikTok video, here's how you take your blood thing. And it's like, mask on, still red. Mask off, still, and so you've got to kind of question, are you feeling that that is more prevalent than it is because you're seeing so many responses to it rather than actual evidence?
That's the thing. Like I said before, this is the stuff that bubbles to the surface because it's got such stupidity to it, and it's something that really riles people up, like you say, and gets responses out of people, when really there's only like
people want to talk about it because they're like, I can't believe people think that, but do people think that? I mean, enough people. I mean,
it's true, and we're making it a bigger deal than it is by saying it.
And look at it on even the meta, like above that, is that why is it you're being shown? Because your feed is customized in an algorithmic sense, and probably the algorithm is influenced by things we don't, consider, like your political leaning that they're getting from the information you tweet. So really you gotta ask, hold on, why is Twitter showing in my feed that's designed to show me the information that I engage with all these cure videos and none of these actual cause videos? And it's like, is it because they've detected that I like to be empowered by the idea that I think I'm right? And so when I see scientific evidence of me being right, I'm like, yes, I'm right. Yes, I'm right. And so I don't actually need the proof of people doing the bad thing. I just need the whisper of it so that I can then feel right about being right. So like, think about it even higher than that, because that's how we are controlled or influenced. And I'm not saying that control.
I don't use
government. I'm saying influenced by people that wish to influence us.
Alex.
Yeah.
Jones,
I mean, that's
Alex
if you use just
Smith?
Twitter for your news stories.
Of course.
Are you finding a parallel?
Wait
people
a second.
with X in their names.
But you're right.
They're so rare.
There was a really interesting guy that was on a interview, and he was part of Silicon Valley, like early on. I can't remember what he helped develop. I think he might have been in Facebook, but he's a very like out there kind of guy. Very like, I totally forgot the word. 60s. Who were the people in the 60s who were like peace and love, blah blah
blah?
Hippies.
What?
Hippies. Very hippie.
Oh. Well, you could think
all like
hippie.
hipster.
Yeah, I couldn't. It literally
the word hippie is gone.
It literally went out of my brain. But he was just very like chill, and he's like, "Oh yeah, they're controlling us, and they're just doing it for not because they want to control us or sway our opinion, but ultimately it's a product, and the more they can get you engrossed in that product, there's no.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything bad that they're trying to do, like trying to convert you to a side of politics or one way or another, but it gets you back on the platform and keeps you on the platform. And other people are utilizing that platform to control you, sure, but the platform itself is not trying to do that to you. that's basically what he was trying to say. It's like the tools are there. They're not necessarily there to, like Smith says, why is the algorithm doing this to make me feel like I'm correct all the time? It keeps you on the platform. It makes you feel good. It's a dopamine fix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like you're going through your feed and you're seeing what you want to see, or you're being outraged at a certain thing, so it makes you interact with that thing, retweet it, quote tweet it saying, oh my God, I can't believe I just saw this in my feed or whatever. To Twitter, that's the stuff that's happening, and that's what helps their platform, is it gets people back on it. And then you can put some ads around it and earn some money. But there's other people that utilize it, obviously in a nefarious way, understand the algorithms and can sway your opinion, I guess, to what they want you to see, like Cambridge Analytica and that sort of thing.
This is the thing. It's those kind of movements where it's like, I think Zuckerberg is trying to almost play the middleman. Go, oh, well, we just got a platform. We don't control what goes on it. That's down to the people. It's freedom and stuff. You can do whatever you want. It's basically, we've given you the canvas, you can paint what you want, and then, if it happens to be lies or hate speech and all from the voice of the president himself, that's not our business. Which I guess right now, obviously, they're trying to fight that on it in terms of trying to make them have responsibility for hosting these things.
Well, Twitter
because they have bigger control
Trump,
than
didn't they? They said,
right,
or at least putting a disclaimer underneath the tweet.
Disclaimers guiding you to the facts, So they kept the tweet up for historical reasons. Whereas I think somebody did a test where they were copying every single tweet that Donald Trump tweeted, and then they were getting banned off the platform almost immediately. But obviously, because he's a president, his stuff does need to be catalogued and does need to be publicly available, because, that is the president right now. Yes, he is saying that stuff. And no, we shouldn't hide it because, he's an authoritative figure.
It's a difficult,
but they are
position.
blanking certain things, not blanking them, but they're guiding you to advice which could save your life in certain scenarios as well.
Yeah,
in terms
it's
of
a
guidance
dangerous
or
position
random
to take,
medicines he's offering.
Because then it's Twitter taking a stance. It's Twitter actively censoring somebody, where, as before, you could call up the whole freedom of speech thing and say, well, this is a platform where I'm allowed to say what I want, and Twitter is choosing what is shown and what isn't shown. Well, like you said, they haven't actually censored it in that way. They've just put.
But this is the thing, somebody posting the exact same thing that he's posting is getting banned off of Twitter straight away.
Yeah.
Whereas he is getting a message saying, "This is the advice. If you want to follow the facts, that's entirely up to you. But we can't delete his stuff because he's the president." They deleted. They removed Katie Hopkins off. Because of hate speech, and hate speech isn't the same as freedom of speech. I don't think.
Breaking terms of
if you're kind of encouraging people to have hate acts towards other people, that shouldn't really be. Well, they have the right to take that off. Basically, she can shout that in the streets if she wants to, until a police officer arrests her for hate speech in the streets. But that's up to her. It's their platform ultimately to control that kind of behavior, because they have terms and conditions for a reason.
Yeah. Well, there's no
it's very
regulation on
but
these things. Like everyone interacts with social media that, and you feel like you have to in order to matter in society, right? If you disconnect from it, you feel like you're losing out on something in a way, or that you want to be kept up to date so that you're not feeling like you're outside of your social bubble or whatever. But every single platform is a private firm. It's a private company. Like, they ultimately have control over like society as a whole, which is kind of scary if you think about it.
I think governments are starting to learn that now. Wow, they're starting to try to make laws around it now, aren't they? In terms of having backdoors into these platforms, having backdoors into WhatsApp and other people's social media, so they can access it, because obviously they need to crack down on criminal conspiracies and stuff. Who knows? But that then cuts into our freedoms of anything you write online or whatever. Yeah.
And you have
they have a lot of power here.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, man. I don't think that any particular current system is going to survive for that long, a whole lot longer. Like, when I say a whole lot longer, I mean within our lifetimes. But like, this is the thing, what you just said then about like, they need these back doors to regulate these companies, because the companies aren't elected, and the governments are, and so the government need to be able to have these back doors to make sure that a government doesn't become irrelevant essentially. But then also that's very authoritarian, a government having that kind of access, and the potential that it can and will be used for by somebody to fuck you up is massive. So it's, it really is, it doesn't really work. Like the current model just is very, very hard to make work. And also people like the Zuck and people like that, they're thinking from, I think, a very libertarian perspective, which is like, here is the tools to do something. We only want to provide the tools, or that's at least their outward perspective, because obviously they really want the data. We want to give you the tools. Here's the tools, but we're going to take the data. But that's all we treat it as, data. They don't really care about what's being said by who. All they care about is the data, that goes on in that sphere as a whole, as to the notions of people, as to the lay of the land politically, economically. That they don't really care about what one person thinks about one thing. They just want to know statistically what it all means, and that's why they are like this. Why they come across as just completely amoral, because ultimately they don't really care. They don't really care about that kind of thing. They don't see it as their purpose. Like Silicon Valley has this whole disruption idea, which is basically use technological innovation to disrupt the status quo, and by doing that, it's a good thing, regardless of what you're doing. If you can disrupt the status quo somehow with something of what you're doing, that is progress.
Change,
so
right?
They're very, very much about progress for progress' sake, and I don't think that's an entirely flawed way of thinking, but it's a very logical way of thinking. It's a very black and white way of thinking, a very binary way of thinking, and I think that that's something that falls apart with the libertarian argument and these kind of people, is that the world is not like that. No, however much you want there to be rules to work things out, however much you want all these answers to be accessible or one day understandable, it's just not like that. We don't work like that. We as people, like the transition and the changes that we're constantly going through, mean that the maths never adds up. So there's always going to be this friction, and we love to consume things. We love new things. We love new stuff, and so we'll always be fueling these tech guys. But the passive access that is giving to our lives and the potential for control over us means that we need something new that forms both government for society and also regulation and empowerment for the kind of people that are creating the new technologies to drive human progress forwards. And what we need is more time, really, is what we need. Like, it takes a very long time for us to fathom out what the fuck we're all doing, especially to get all human beings at the same level as well. That's kind of a problem as well. You've got such disadvantage, such lack of education, all this sort of stuff. It takes ages to get people on the same level. Because, there's a reason some people love immigrants and some people hate them. It's because of their personal experiences. And until everyone's experience is the same, I just don't think we're going to get very far.
I don't think
that's even possible.
Not anytime.
Yeah.
I don't think anytime soon. I think 60 years time, maybe. And that's why I kind of like the whole hippie story you were talking about, to add a little callback in, Trot, about that guy that's just like, I don't think it is like you say, I don't think there's the man with the evil plan. I think that there are all these variables going on within a very confused and sort of consensus-based system, where everybody wants to be right, and everyone assumes that there is a right and there is a wrong. And it's fucking scary, and you naturally want to come back into yourself. I think that's people like logic because it feels safe and makes sense, and that's human, and that is a challenge, I suppose. But yeah, it's a tough one. Not to say don't try as well. I think you can go either way with viewpoints like that. To sort of say, what's the point in anything then? It's sort of like, well, I guess you might as well give it a whirl.
Yeah, I think that those guys are just excited to have data to work an algorithm with, and then see their algorithm come to life, and then see, oh wow, it's actually working. But then the political ramifications of things like that are maybe secondary, and that's why they're excited. Well, I mean, those people want to read that stuff, so we'll let them.
It's the human element, which I think we haven't fully understood the human brain and how we react to things, and to be exposed suddenly to the entire world's opinions is overwhelming for us. I don't think they factored that in. They saw it from a logical point of view of, we're going to provide this tool which allows anyone to instantly access anything they want ever, without the ramifications of what does that mean for the human mind absorbing all that information.
Yeah,
What's it gonna do?
exactly. What does it do to the monkey? Like
you have to wonder. Yeah, that's a good point. Whoever invented the internet in the first place,
straight to release.
Yeah,
there was no check. It was just out there.
Exactly.
And then
this is the thing. I wonder if that was even
trial.
their first point. Their first thought was, I need to send this data to somebody else as fast as possible, and this is the way that we can do it. I don't think they were thinking, let's now study the theory behind if everyone has access to everyone else in the world, which has never been done before. Obviously, over the last 20 or so years, that's expanded massively, and now we're kind of seeing the effects of, I guess, the very early effects of how that is, and the outrage around the world, the cancel culture, all this other stuff.
It's the same as like releasing cigarettes to the world without the idea of what they cause.
Yeah,
it's ultimately no one really understood that cigarettes were harmful and dangerous and heavily addictive. Yeah. No one really understood how harmful, dangerous, and addictive the internet and social media is. Like we're in such a naive state of science when it comes to the human psyche, and we're only just starting to understand depression, how the chemicals work in your brain, and we just kind of went steamrolling ahead with these new ideas. The internet as like this amazing thing that anyone can access, and while it has its benefits, it's not just a cigarette, right? It's obviously got good traits about it, and we're learning a lot about each other, I guess, as a globe, rather than
you can almost compare countries. You can almost compare it to how we started on YouTube in general, or online. We didn't think about, oh shit, we may receive hate from thousands of people. We may hear everyone's opinions of what they think about us personally. We just thought, let's make a fucking funny little Minecraft video and put it online. And that's kind of how we started. We just wanted to make something and then show it to people. But there's a reaction to that which could cause extreme, mental health issues down the line for some people, like depending on how they approach those things, or if they haven't even thought it through, or thought how should I respond to people online. So like we had no idea going into this, but some people have been drastically affected by being online in general and showing themselves and go, oh, I didn't realize that if I made one viral video or something, my whole life could be flipped upside down.
No one's been
I guess people are learning that now from
and looked at under a lens as much as people on the internet have. And it's like gossip magazines and stuff like that, where you see like a new article on that celebrity again that's like caught outside with, oh my god, they're wearing underwear but they're overweight, and and all that kind of stuff. It's like you're getting your own personal gossip magazine on every video and picture and comment and everything you ever make online, and you're being like, and those opinions are not even correct most of the time. It's just someone has a problem with a thing you're doing, whether they're right or wrong, and you're getting that information directly to you, and you're being called out every time you walk down the street. It's like, I don't like his hair right. What's wrong with Trott today? Like, his beard looks fucking stupid.
Or you made one misstep. You make one misstep in your life, and that carries through to the rest of that affects the rest of your life. Just because of one misstep when you were younger.
Down to like the micro things of like, you fucking missed that goal, you idiot. And it's just like the wording of it, because there's no emotion behind it, you can't hear them say it. It's a text. Like all the emotion is stripped out.
It could be a sarcastic joke.
Yeah. You put in what you think it is, your interpretation of it. And because you're frustrated, you just missed a shot anyway, you're fueling that message with extra anger that you've got in your mind. So it's like, Jesus Christ.
Because we literally we made that analogy the other day in terms of like what the World Cup, like there could be an amazing player, but when it comes down to like, I don't know, a final penalty and they just missed that last shot, they're trash. They were like the best player before, but now they're complete trash. We hate him. That guy's an asshole. We hate that guy. And it's like, that's all it takes. And public opinion, changes of you. One tiny little action.
It's dangerous.
But you can change that, but that can be changed.
The audience.
Yeah.
I don't know. Audience. But this is the thing.
Every audience.
I think it's also a reflection of the gravity of putting things online as well in general, like and choosing to share certain things and not oversharing necessarily in some cases, which some people kind of, I don't know, almost feel like they should because they really appreciate the response they get, or like to interact with arguments because maybe they just enjoy that kind of thing. But I don't know. These things have like lasting effects. And I read something the other day about how some people wanted to make people have photographic ID to sign into things like Twitter and other platforms of that type. So there's accountability to the words you say. It's not just an anonymous source saying random things or a bot. There's an actual person behind that linked to you. I mean, do you think that's too policing though? Is that too much control, or will it eventually get to that stage because we have to, because they can't keep control of the mess that the internet is?
Again, it's the fear of the man or the government tracking everything you do down to your name and everything you browse and everything you've ever looked at. Like, where's the privacy in your own home anymore? I don't know. If you were completely crime-free or completely innocent of everything and you weren't doing anything bad, you wouldn't have anything to worry about. But then again, like,
I think massive step
some
on
things are
freedom,
embarrassing, and you don't want people to know what you're doing.
I think feasibility in that reality is that we're going to have much more oversight of our own governments as citizens. So I don't think that we can really undo or very much halt the progress of privacy being lost for the individual, simply because the benefits of it will be so great, as well as the potential down. The thing is, it's like a lot of losing privacy. If it was like an AI or something, we could truly trust has none of its own motives, then that would be fine. That would be okay, But the problem is, it's like, okay, I've got nothing to hide, nothing to fear now, and I might live a very good and virtuous life. But if down the line somebody changes a law who's in power, then you suddenly they have the power to make you a criminal. Essentially, is essentially one of the biggest risks of having no privacy. But I think, and as we've seen it so far, the reason we've lost the privacy we have is by doing that, we've bought a useful service with it. We've bought, things that are useful to us. Like our location for GPS tracking, is one obvious one. The ability to use maps anywhere, like GPS is, and having that in the power of your palm, like 60 years ago is just like nuts. That would be insane. You have bloody paper maps. Remember ever trying to fold a paper map? Like, god damn. And no live tracking on that either. So I don't think that's ever going to go away. I think that what we need to be able to trust our government, and the only way that we can do that is where they have as little privacy as we do. So it can be like, oh yeah, you're thinking about doing this, or there's conversations about this law, right? Well, every citizen could tune in and see that happening and object and have the power and ability to instantly object to it. So more of like a P2P democracy, I suppose, is probably one of the ways I could think of it potentially working. But like, yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to stop the march. Like, I've got fucking smart devices all around my house. Like, they've got microphones in, Every tech billionaire out there covers their freaking webcams because they know that they can just be backdoored,
And
like
they're all private companies. That's the worrying part.
Yeah.
Google owns you right now. Well, it doesn't own you, but it's everywhere around you, and you've bought into their products, and they can ultimately do anything with those products, and they've got access to you with almost every sense, like vision, sound.
Yeah, we need to go beyond the reality of knowing that that's a thing to, how can we actually make this workable? Like, let's think of ways that would actually work.
Utilize it.
Because the biggest problem is, you've got our government especially just doing what the fuck they like, and everyone's keeping their mouths shut. Same with the government in the US, that they have these cohorts of sycophants that will just keep their mouths shut. So it means that leaders can get away with anything. And if we had more oversight, if we had a recording of every single conversation that Donald Trump had on the phone freely accessible to the world, I think that would make it a more fairer place. Because you can bet your ass they sure as shit probably have a record of all of ours, It's a reality, and we just need to work out how the fuck we can put the screws on these corrupt bastards. And
I guess the issue that they would probably come back with is like a national security issue. Like, what if another country hacks into these private conversations and then commits?
Well, as soon as anybody in the world launches a nuke, the world is over. The resulting nuclear winter of a single nuclear incident would fuck our planet up even more than we are fucking up now. So. Like, these are just moot points. It's the same about Trident in the UK. I used to think, again, I've changed my perspective, and I hope that gives me some perspective. I used to think that Trident was necessary, but I don't think it does, because the reality is, if we use any of our nuclear arms, if anyone does, somebody else is going to launch one at something else, and it will be fucked.
It's tokenistic at this stage, though. It's tokenistic to be like, I've got one, and you've got one, so we're good, right? Yeah. And like... And then we'll stop that guy from having them, though.
you spend all that money on building these weapons, making them things that can be stolen, by the way, as well. Things like that go missing. So you're spending all this money that could be spent on funding the NHS almost entirely and making your population so happy that they don't want to go and, it reduces racism, it reduces the need for invading other countries, it reduces all this sort of stuff that causes the kind of friction that causes wars. So it's like, it's
the thing that fucks me off the most about nuclear arms is, and I know this is quite dark right now, but this is the last dark thing I'm going to say about it. With nuclear arms, I hate the fact that they keep forgetting about nuclear legs.
I knew it was a joke. I'm sorry. I thought you were going to say something like glowing arms. Yeah. No, it's good though.
Fuck.
Thanks.
I'm glad you said it. I like that this is a bit dark.
Plus, obviously,
like maybe he's...
Yeah. It certainly made me remind me of the series Dark, which is actually affected by nuclear technology as well. So, which is a really good series. By the way, if anyone hasn't seen, there's a series on Netflix called Dark, which is a German series. It does have dubs. I'd actually turned the dubs off because they sounded awful, and I just watched it in subtitles. But
I tried.
It's one of the best series on Netflix, and it's just so good, and it's very in depth, so you want to concentrate on it. But the last series was out last week, and it's I had to do like a couple of recaps, but like I recommend people watch it because it's really interesting.
Yeah,
keeping track is there's layers.
Quality is so nice.
Yeah, it's beautifully made. Yeah, so if you're interested in kind of, I don't want to spoil anything by saying anything if you haven't seen the first series, because that kind of reveals
just
the setup
Dark
for the next two. But watch Dark, check it out. It's really good, and that kind of reminded me of it a bit. Plus, you said Dark.
Come on, Ross, keep it light, mate. Keep it light. I was keeping it light before. Sorry.
Talking of
I've been on one of his rants for a while, and it's very cathartic.
Apocalypse. I've completed Last of Us 2 now. I'm not going to say anything.
Oh, you have?
About
Okay,
it,
nice.
But I feel good that I completed and finished something that is somewhat cinematic. So that's nice. So I'm ahead of the curve.
That's good.
Somewhat.
Yeah, I think I'm about halfway through.
Yeah.
I played some.
It's longer than I thought it would be. So that's
very atmospheric. Smith picked it up as well, and I didn't think you were going to play it. Did you play it much yet? More than?
I haven't played it much. I'm not gonna make it up.
Make a lie.
I've lost it. I can't speak. I've used my words for today. Sorry, everybody. That's my quota. My mouth is now falling apart.
It's very atmospheric.
I want to play more of it.
Yeah.
It's so atmospheric though that I have to be in the right mood to play it. Like some evenings, I'm like,
I agree.
I'm gonna play this game, and then I'm like, I could watch a bit of Peep Show there. I kind of fancy a comedy, like as in. So
the thing about that type of game though, I find myself with that type of game just like scouring every single corner. So like I end up spending so much time just literally hunting for just like a fucking bit of duct tape or whatever, and just like I don't know if I enjoy it as much because of that, because that part annoys me. But I know I have to look for those things just because it's kind of like ingrained in me from other games as well. So you've got to find everything, or you find one of those little baseball cards, wherever it is you find. But yeah,
what I found
otherwise, you have to be in a mood to play it, I think.
What I've found playing it through is if there's something coming up that they need you to have stuff for, they'll put a load of that stuff in a room a couple of rooms before. So don't worry too much about about that. But visually,
it's all pointless. Read, this is just him covering up for a spoiler. It's all pointless, Ross. It's all a dream. The entire game's a dream sequence. Don't worry about
pull a Lost. They do a Lost on us. Right.
Damn it. Oh, don't get me started on Lost.
I
think that's a worse ending than Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Oh God. Oof. Nothing can beat that.
Well, it's a big time investment for just. Oh, what was this? But I guess it's best as both equal in that sense, in that reaction.
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck?
A lot of the issues around Last of Us 2, because a lot of it got leaked, right? A lot of the main story points got leaked early on. And then people started trashing it with reviews because, it's a female character with bigger biceps than me as a man and stuff like that. A lot of like LGBT.
Again, I haven't seen that myself, but you're being shown what makes you feel right, Trot.
Well, I did some deep diving beyond my echo chamber.
I've seen the review bombing.
Like Meta critic and all that kind of stuff, and IMDb and a lot of the early reviews, which like on Steam bombing, it's like review bombing. They basically did that with Last of Us 2 because they're like, the story's awful, the plot twists are the worst, and without all this context, I just saw the leaks. I hate the game. That's basically what it came down to, which really sucks. Like for a game that's been developed for like 5 longer years, any amount of work that goes into that, for it to just get shat on just before release must really fucking suck, regardless if it's a good game or not. My God, that sucks for them. But I just thought that was interesting.
It's managed to sell 4 million in its first 3 days, which I think is
the best exclusive on PS4. Right? I think it's the best selling exclusive on a PS4.
Yeah,
I'll double check that, but yeah.
But people just get salty about certain things. Review bombing just
please don't put any spoilers in chat. But nobody has spoilers yet. But please do not. You will be banned. But yeah, nobody's doing anything bad right now. Anyway,
it's interesting. Obviously, I think they are Game of Thronesing it in a way, but that's all I'm going to say about it. But the good Game of Thronesing it. Not the ending Game of Thrones, like the narrative choices that George R. Martin would do. They're doing like
I see what you mean.
Keeping you on your toes.
But I think emotional investment helps build story and character and stuff. So
it's hard to do a sequel. I think of something so beloved.
Difficult second album, isn't it? It's the way.
And I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think.
It's a fantastic. I've only played a little bit of it, and it is worth mentioning. It's a fantastic game. Definitely play it. Like, even if you just don't even hold it up to the first game. Like, who cares? Like, it's like got amazing voice acting, amazing animation, amazing like graphical. That's what
I like it for.
Work. It's like the animation and voice acting alone is brilliant. Yeah, it's just a really well-made game, and like that in itself is worth it, I think.
I think we're in like the golden period of like huge, epic, big money, AAA single story narrative games. Whereas before it was like, throw in multiplayer to this game, please. Now we're going back to Horizon Zero Dawn and Last of Us and Uncharted and all those like
God
Redemption of War,
as well.
Red Dead Redemption.
Red Dead 2 for me, like. It's the same with The Last of Us. Last of Us is a little more handholdy, which I have no problem with, to be honest with you, because it's not as open world. So, but the whole like filmic elements of these games now is just like mind blowing. Like you watch it on a good television, you step back and like, don't look for the gamey bits of it, and you're like, holy shit, this is just like watching a film. Like, and that's awesome. It's like such a high quality entertainment experience, because I think the one thing I miss when I, watch films is the ability to interact with the world, right? Like it's awesome to see a film, but sometimes you wish you could step through the glass and just like be there and see it, And I think that's in a way what games do for me in terms of difference from films. But like, it's awesome. It's really awesome.
Did anyone ever see Charlie Brooker try and show Jon Snow, the TV news presenter / talk guy, how to play video games and what video games are? It's the most like derailed, hilarious interview I've ever seen.
How old is it? Really? Is it quite old? Because Charlie Brooker used to be a games journalist, right, as well.
It was definitely him in that mode, trying to show off what was Lego Avengers and Call of Duty, a new Call of Duty Ghosts. So whenever that came out,
that was one of the worst ones. I mean, I think it's much easier to convince someone who doesn't play games. I think it's much easier to convince someone with a cinematic, realist kind of vibe game such as Last of Us or Red Dead than just showing them Rocket League or like those ones that have those really where they can be like, oh wow, I could watch this. Yeah.
But also I think like people get attached to like just the simple game mechanics. Like you're much more likely to get your parents playing like virtual ping pong than you are other things, right? Because like that concept makes sense to them as a game. It's like, oh, I know how to win this. I know how to interact with this. But like some really clever indie games and things like that have these really great gameplay mechanics, which make it more accessible, I think, for some people.
Yeah.
Like you say,
well, I guess that's mobile games, isn't it?
It's a passive thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But,
yeah, mobile definitely about that.
Because my mum plays like, what is it? Not Bejeweled. What's Candy Crush? And it's like a very simple, logic. You have to just swipe across, swipe up, whatever, and that's it. But like, I feel like if I showed her Warzone, but what the hell am I doing? It would be a hilarious mistake of death.
This is what was like the Jon Snow one. I feel like he was playing a caricature of a boomer because he full on was saying so all you're doing is just killing people, right? Like, do I kill them? Those people are dying.
Boiled it down to that.
So what's the point of video games? Like, am I just wasting my time? It's just all that kind of crap.
Yeah, but do you remember when he got fucking absolutely baked on TV?
No.
And he was just like,
he had too much.
Oh, this absolute filth. Oh, it's disgusting filth. It's what is this? Oh, it's skunk. Oh, it's awful filth. Terrible stuff. It should be off the streets. And it's just like, he just took the biggest fucking hit ever. Like, I do not blame his reaction. His reaction is their fault for giving him so much fucking. He had that giant vape, that giant volcano vape.
Yeah,
it has a huge bag on it, right?
Yeah, with the balloon
he took the whole. Mate, he fucking tanked the whole hit, man. He tanked the whole fucking hit in one, and it's just like, what? Of course you're gonna feel fucking a bit fucked up.
My God.
There he is, he's doing it. He's taking a little hit there. And he just took it and he was like,
that's super tasty, by the way.
God,
it tastes amazing. I've had one of these.
Well, it's cleaner. Like, it's the cleanest way to to consume.
Herby. Yeah. It tastes so good.
But I would not consume the whole fucking bag in one go. Like, holy fucking shit. Like, he took it and it was so fucking funny because yeah, it's for sharing. He took a big hit and I was like, oh my God, man. And he's like, oh God, it's ungodly filth. It's like, yeah, well, yeah. I'd probably say the same if I just took a
nail the whole bag
in
this dump.
Yeah, I feel like they weren't fair to him. Give him a little bit. Give him a little bit, a tiny bit. Build up to it.
Ease him in.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So the loading bay for one of those volcanoes is like the size of a large chocolate button. Like one of those gigantic chocolate buttons, right? It's literally
like
about
a fucking grinder's worth.
Yeah, it literally is a grinder's worth. It's about that deep, right? It must be like 5 grams in one hit. Like, it's a lot. Like,
must have been out of it for ages, man.
You're
not going to get a measured response from anyone. You're not going to get a measured response about drugs from anyone if that's what you've just taken. It's just like, Jesus. This old man who's never tried it before, you just fucking threw him in the deep end. But yeah, I can understand that's his reaction towards video games in comparison. Because, yeah, like, fucking hell. That's insane.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Hilarious.
Oh, I thought
Trot, you muted yourself.
I don't hear you anymore, Trot.
You've muted yourself.
I did it because
he's just gone.
Yeah, basically, yeah, it was me saying that he's just a stereotype, fulfilling a stereotype. I feel.
Yeah.
Because ultimately,
I think in a way he tries to, like you say, he's trying to be that person who's completely against it, but then needs to kind of be swayed into, oh, what is this thing? Tell me more about it. Is it all about death? Do you want to kill someone now you've just played this video game? Tell me now. And I think it's his investigative, like, journalist mind where he's just like getting this stuff straight away. And it's like, I need to think of both sides, like the extreme kind of hatred of video games and what they could be causing, and then the enjoyment and relaxation of the other side. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's my memory of him trying something new and reacting to it weirdly.
I mean, I appreciate him doing it.
But yeah, they didn't give him a chance.
No. I think they did it for the meme, ultimately. They needed to get a lot of attention.
Essentially, yeah.
Get the old guy on some drugs.
I've got a couple of funny news stories. This one isn't necessarily funny, but it's kind of like a what the fuck more than anything. And the headline is, Alabama students hold COVID-19 parties with prize for first sick person. Okay, so obviously we know the situation in America is pretty dire right now with kind of just pretty much no one's really helping them. I mean, their government isn't helping them. Poor Fauci's just like timid in a corner, just like saying, please put your masks back on. Look, mate, no one's listening to you.
Desperately hoping you not get assassinated.
So is this real? Is this actually real?
The masks are good. Okay, so it says students hosted parties to intentionally infect each other with the new coronavirus. They put money in a pot and they try to get COVID. Whoever gets COVID first gets the pot. It makes no sense to them, but this is the person talking about it. And yeah, they're just furious that these students are doing this. That's just something that a group of students were found doing. So there you go. That's fun. I mean, they're probably going to be fine,
surprise
obviously,
me.
if they get it. But it's more about the other people that they could infect, which they're clearly not giving a
that's
shit
the
about.
biggest
But, you know,
thing
It's
that
too much
annoys
money for
me.
a
Turn it into a
project
game.
there, Ross.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Too
what
much,
about
I
me?
know. Well, are you guys missing like I don't know, tourism in general, like going new places? Obviously, just before the virus, you
Yeah.
went to Kenya, so I mean, you've had your fill for a bit.
Well,
People in Taiwan
I mean, yeah.
they are offering fake flights for travel-starved tourists.
Fake
So
ones.
they're starved of the travel experience during coronavirus lockdown. One Taiwanese airport has the solution: a fake itinerary where you check in, go through passport control and security, and even board the aircraft. You just never leave. So you basically just do a simulator. It's a
The worst
travel
bit of
simulator, but
travelling.
not the good. Yeah, the worst part of traveling is going to the airport, queuing up, getting your passport checked, doing all that stuff. No one remembers that stuff when they think about a holiday. They don't think, God, I miss doing that part. Fucking who's queuing up for this shit? That's insane.
I just want to feel what it's like to be in a queue again at the airport.
Yeah. Can I just at least touch the plane? Can I touch the plane? Please. I want that
sit.
feeling again.
Do you get given
man.
like a little drink, like an orange juice? Do you have like airport staff?
I think
board
so, because I mean,
pretending?
there was an article that I didn't use for the funny news because it wasn't that funny, but there were people who were ordering specific plane food from planes.
Right.
So they were ordering food that
Like
could only be
pretzels.
normally served
like
on
the
planes.
courses you'd
Because
get. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so they were like
Fucking
obviously
hell.
trying to use up stock that they had,
Yeah.
and then people were like queuing up trying to buy the stuff because and you know it was painted as them trying to be nostalgic for flying. But the airplane food's not good, barely
it might
good in
just be
first class. I'll be honest.
It's all
my
right. It still
experience.
tastes like airplane food, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you can
It's
still
still
tell the
just-
steak
yeah.
has been cooked in the microwave.
You can get a better ready meal from
Yeah, yeah.
Tesco for cheaper probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
and
I
I
mean,
wouldn't queue up for that
it-
experience.
No.
it
I
might just
would
be
not.
like cheap food getting sold off, and people were like treating it like TV dinners or something like that.
I think so. Yeah. The other story I had was about the wooden penis. So a Wilton man has been arrested for displaying a 7-foot wooden penis statue in his front yard. The picture,
Nice.
unfortunately, is a part of a video, so if that comes up, you have to probably bypass an ad or whatever. But Jamie Garn, has lived on Ruggles Road for 10 years. Great name, Ruggles Road. He recently found himself in a dispute with the town of Wilton over plans for his workshop, but the town says aren't up to code. So he just wants to live in peace and finish his workshop, but the planning permission isn't allowing it. His reaction to that was to carve a 7-foot penis out of a pine tree and place it on his front lawn. Balls included as well. I think there are balls. He says people passing are obviously laughing at it, taking pictures, selfies and stuff with it. But he's been arrested for having that, so he has to take it down, is what they're saying. 'Cause they said it's trying to protect the issue of potential exploitation in a sexual manner, particularly as it relates to protecting children. So basically, but then his counter to that is you think about going to a park and there's a statue of a little boy peeing, or there's a marble statue of a bare-breasted woman, but he can't have his 7-foot erect penis, which, you know, why
There's
not?
nothing
Why
wrong
can't
with
you
a
have
phallus.
your giant
There is
penis?
nothing wrong with a good phallus, and it is
Indeed.
hilarious that they think that they need to protect children against the idea of a body part.
I've actually created a 7-foot penis
They're
before.
growing up as well. Am I right? Am I right? Yeah. Yeah.
I've created a 7-foot penis before. Okay, I've done it. I've done it with giant snowballs that we just rolled around this empty field, and then we just stacked them on top of each other and had this giant 7-foot penis.
Wow.
I carved that thing. The head was perfect. It was amazing. The balls, big, huge, giant boulders. Beautiful. It's beautiful.
We made a stencil of one on the top of the Vancouver mountainscape.
We did, yes.
Yeah, the
jizz and
ice
everything.
lake. Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Yeah, amazing.
So yeah, that's all the funny news I think I've got. Two of
We're
those
at the hour
were
point.
penis stories. One of them earlier on. So there you go.
We did it. We
Avoid those
reached
longer
another
actions,
hat
guys.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Amazing.
Should we thank the following people? The appropriate people to thank would be our Patreon followers.
What?
Who
We've
have
got a
supported us.
Patreon?
Yeah. We have a Patreon, Trot. We do have a
I never
Patreon.
knew.
And it mostly supports
Wait, put
this
it back up. I
podcast,
wanna
but it
point
supports
to
us
it.
in general. Supports us in general with all the things we
We
do.
all do it.
So thank you very much for supporting that as well. And anyone who watches us on Twitch, this is live streamed on Twitch. Thank you for tuning in and subbing as well, and all the other cool things our audience does for us. And if you have a Fingal and or you're feeling extra creative in these lockdown times, or kind of unlockdown soon, feel free to send them to hatchat@hat-films.com. Make sure to put Fingal
What's that?
in there somewhere so we can find it easily. hatchat@hat-films.com. That's right. He's pointing at it. We should be pointing. Always point. There it is. It's there. Make sure to use those appropriately. But thank you for watching. You can check this out on Spotify and all the other places. I think it's literally just on anywhere available.
All the places.
So whichever podcast provider, all the places. One day we'll get a sponsor, guys. One day. It was discussed maybe 14 weeks ago. Not heard much since. So you guys are holding us up.
Did you mention that the video is put on YouTube?
It is put on YouTube. Thanks for reminding me. At the Hat Chat Podcast YouTube channel. So
yes,
thank you.
You'll find it.
That's all the things I have to say.
Thank you to everyone for listening / potentially watching today. We really appreciate it. We'll see you in a couple of weeks for Hat Chat episode 36.
6, I think.
36.
God, I think so. Yeah.
And hopefully Ross has still got enough of a protractor to tell us what day of lockdown it is.
What day it will be? Yeah, of course. If it's, we're semi-lockdown. Yeah. So yeah.
Indeed. Well, thank you, everyone. We'll be here in a couple of weeks. Enjoy yourselves. Bye. Yes.